Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of Soundtrack. I'm your host, Michael V. Smith. Soundtrack is a live queer oral history project generously sponsored by UBC Equity and Inclusion Office. Thanks to them. It's amazing to get university money to support queer things. And I'm coming to you from the beautiful unceded territory of the Syilx Okanagan people. Each week, we welcome a special guest and feature a new album as the prompt for the soundtrack of our lives. And this week, our very first cherry popping guest is none other than writer-performer Ivan Coyote. I bet you already know all about Ivan and their work, but check out our Facebook page for more info. Buy their books, write them fan mail, invite them to perform in your town. The album of the week comes from the amazing early career of Boy George. It's Culture Club's Color by Numbers from 1983. Hi, Ivan. Welcome to Soundtrack.
Hey, Michael V. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Hi, Glenn, Shauna, Brianna, Jude, Jenica. Yeah, Tim, Emmett. I know some folks. Shimshon is helping us out. So, hi, everyone. I'm coming to you from the Yukon, from Kwanlin Dun and Tahanquichin Council Territory in Whitehorse. Yep.
Amazing. Hi. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Our first order of business is, I wonder if I can do this again. I can do Stigmata. I've turned into a Jesus Christ, but that's actually just a toonie. I picked it because it's got queens on one side and bears on the other, and we're going to flip a coin to see who goes first. So queens or bears, Ivan?
I'm going to go with bears. Yep.
It is queens. So that's me. I did a little sheet that's you and me, but it doesn't spin very well. It's always in the middle.
Oh.
Okay, so if you don't know Soundtrack, we have the same prompt. We both made a piece about Color by Numbers, Culture Club. So this is a little piece about the very first gay guy I ever met. Color by Numbers. For a brief moment in the early 80s, Darren was the cute new boy in grade school all the girls were giggling over, until some other transfer kid from their previous school described Darren's habit of twirling like Wonder Woman, which he was happy to demonstrate. Popularity is a light switch. We knew enough about desire and the school ground to make Christie's crush on Darren convince the boys to pin his wriggling arms and legs in the grass at lunchtime so she could brand him with a massive hickey, juvenile normcore training, or how to get in with the boys. I watched Darren's exasperated sobbing and said nothing, silence being the closest thing to an ally I could think of without being a target myself. For my 50th birthday this year, one's relationship to numbers just keeps getting weirder. Darren sent me a letter. He said, "You made it this far, and I'm pretty sure there were times you didn't think you would. I know that feeling so well." By grade 7, he and I had hung out enough to get in trouble. He pierced his own ear in front of me with a boiled needle and an ice cube with enough blood that I declined. We strung reams of audio tape from a broken cassette between hydro poles across 3rd Street at dusk, then waited from the 2nd-story window to see what might happen. We wandered the streets in costumes like a Viking helmet with horns that Em and I fought over. Darren in his braids and many ropes of beads we thought made him the spitting image of Boy George. We howled at everything, eager to be loose on the world. Darren writes, "I can't for the life of me find it, but there is a picture out there somewhere of you and I together at one of my birthday parties, 12 or 13 years old, and I'm holding up a card and a $5 bill you gave me. I can still feel the excitement written on my face, as it was the first I felt as though someone in this world understood me. Like the first time I saw Boy George on TV, unsure if he was a boy or a girl, which was a question often directed at me too. Boy George, my aha moment. I don't know whose idea it was, but Darren, me, and 2 guys from our elementary class registered in an air band competition in grade 7. Darren lit across the stage in a white caftan and faux braids, convincingly enough to win us a spot competing citywide at the Civic Complex a month later. But in the end, we were no competition for Twisted Sister. Darren says, "You did absolutely nothing, just the fact of you being there, your energy." When I walked into his room one afternoon and found him sitting on the edge of his bed naked from the waist down, counting his pubes, 3, that was the end for me. We never hung out again. In these 40 years since, I've daydreamed other scenarios for us, some where we kiss right then, some where I'm in high school and I smoke pot with he and his punky friends, where I dye my long hair blue, shave the sides, and goop it up into a new wave flip, where I take a boy named Darren to prom. Let me scratch out the shit I saw from a distance that Darren survived in high school, because we all remember what that was like, right? Darren ends his note saying, "You were emanating something I identified with. Don't know how else to explain it. I knew then I wasn't alone, and I thank you for this gift, more so than the $5." I'm amazed at Darren still sending a letter like this, because I remember being the kid who stepped back, a great shame in my life, to have hid better in the shadows, with thanks in no small part to his light. Soundtrack of our lives.
That was great, Michael. Michael
Thanks, Ivan.
V. It's really great to hear you read. I wish we were in Kelowna and we could go to that Vietnamese pho place that you took me to, remember?
Yes.
Last
I do
time
just
we-
about anything to be in the same room as you again.
It'll happen. It's gonna happen. It'll happen. We have to stay the course. I took the assignment a little bit more literally than you. Well, no, anyway.
There's
wrote a
no
little-
right or wrong.
There's not. There's no
No.
writer wrong. Get it? Okay. Anyway, I gave my piece a title and it's called "A Man Without Conviction." I was 13, about to turn 14 that summer in 1983 when Culture Club released Color by Numbers. Smack dab in the waning days of grade 9 at Porter Creek Secondary School in Whitehorse. Spring in the Yukon is long and colder than it looks from inside your bedroom window, and it smells like thawing dirt and dog shit and pussy willows and pine and poplar sap. My junior high was an 11-minute walk through the woods around Hidden Lake on a well-worn trail that I had walked, skied, skidooed, biked, and motorbiked on so many times I knew it on autopilot in the fog, in the northern morning dark with no moon to light up the path for me. I nearly almost had a backpack of school books and an alto saxophone slung over both shoulders, and a baritone saxophone that I had to keep stopping to change hands with because my carrying hand would quickly go numb and start to tingle and burn in the cold. And I know I first heard Karma Chameleon on CKRW's morning show right after birthday greetings and before Trader Time came on at 9 a.m. I had a yellow Walkman that played cassettes and black foam headphones on under the hood of my parka. And then Terry David Mulligan played the video on Friday night videos on CBC. And suddenly Boy George posters quickly began replacing David Bowie on the backs of bedroom doors of my friends all over the neighborhood. That spring, Ms. Stitt's French class went to Montreal for a student exchange, and that is where I first tasted the Beatlemania flavor of the world's love of Boy George. As far as I had ever seen the world stretched out before my eyes, that is, Montreal was the farthest I had ever traveled from home before, and it was the first place I'd ever been where it wasn't English first on the tongues of everyone in the room. Culture Club was blasting from every speaker in every store on every street in that great and strange and wondrous city we were visiting for 8 whole parentless days. I bought the cassette in Sam the Record Man in a giant to me mall on the outskirts of Montreal, and the white plastic bag it came in had a full color picture of Boy George's eyeshadowed and lipstick face on it. The only other time I had seen unexamined and unabashed and unabashed so-called feminine presentation from an assigned male person was Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the midnight viewing at the Yukon Theater, which was actually the Yukon Theater, weirdly, was just sold last week in Whitehorse and slated. It's now slated to be torn down and developed because nobody goes to the movies anymore. Nobody talked about Boy George's makeup or his long flowing robes and capes in his videos, or the fact that he was singing what might have been a breakup song about a man without conviction, a man who comes and goes, a lover who would be easier if he only came in the colors of his dreams, red, gold, and green. The boys I was supposed to be chasing all wore the same unspoken uniform, faded painter's pants or parachute pants in either red or black with matching zippers, a rock t-shirt claiming to be a member of either the Kiss Army or AC/DC or Judas Priest or Led Zeppelin, white Reeboks even in the winter, and the ubiquitous down parka over a Lee or Levi's jean jacket. That's what you could wear. That's what you were allowed to wear. Unless you were a rock star. I remember thinking, then you could be Bowie or Boy George or George Michael even, and no one would ever call you a faggot. They would just turn it up and dance and know all the words.
That's amazing.
It was fun.
I love how much that echoed my life. It's so familiar, that moment.
Did you have parachute pants or did you have painter's pants?
I had I had tearaway pants. I wanted like a tearaway pants and a matching jacket so badly. And I finally got one for Christmas, and it wasn't in a color that I liked. I was so disappointed.
Did you have hammer pants though?
No, I never had. I was too afraid of hammer pants.
Yeah.
It amazes me
Maybe
how
you had
much.
tearaway pants? You were Ontario, what's it called? Starts with a C.
Well, tearaway. They unzipped. They didn't
Okay.
tear. They didn't. They had zippers on the side with snaps, so you could unzip them and just had the snaps if you wanted. But I wasn't sophisticated enough to know that.
Did they have stripes down the side? Were they those
Yeah,
ones with the
stripes down the side,
Yeah.
and like a little jacket, with the color up top and the color up the bottom and a stripe down the sleeve.
Oh yeah. And did you have satin gym shorts with white piping?
Oh God, maybe. Some
All that
people are
stuff's coming
nodding.
back now. Shimshon's like, yeah, I would rock that. I would rock that. I would rock that right now. I know everything that we wore in the 80s is like cool again. I should have kept it.
It surprises me how much that time was defined by clothes. Like I picked clothes to keep me safe. What can I wear that would make me feel more like a boy and disappear and not stand out so much? And
Yeah, I've thought a lot about it because like a lot of my early sort of gender transgressors were assigned male people because I grew up in the Yukon, so there's always been this weird space made for women to be kind of butch. Um, like, there's this kind of an archetype almost of the like
right.
axe toting, sorrel boot wearing straight lady who like can jack up her, like it was all around, it's all pretty gendered weirdness, but yeah, there was always a bit more space made, so it was just sort of like, just by utility you had to sort of be a bit, because you had to be a bit of a Yukoner. You had to have a jerry can in the back of your truck and know how to put chains on your tires, and like even my mom knew how to do that. She could do it like, with her white leather gloves on in the 80s and not even get dirty. So
Yeah, and it was easy to be a woman with short hair, much harder than it was to be a man with long hair.
you know
Or
what? It's still like that, Michael V. I'm sure we know that. Like, maybe in the big cities it might be a little bit marginally different, but I still think male assigned people who exhibit any kind of femininity are have it way harder than female assigned people who push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah,
Still
that's
the
just
best.
misogyny, right? That's just misogyny in
Yeah,
its many faces.
absolutely, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
I remember I had super long hair in high school. This is a little later, but I had long hair in high school, and the first thing I did was grow a mullet because you were allowed. All the hockey players had long
Yeah.
hair in the back. We had the Cornwall Royals in my high school, and they all
Hmm.
had mullets. So it was fine to
What was
have a
the
mullet.
hold on, what, repeat the hockey team's name again?
The Cornwall Royals.
Cornwall Royals.
We had Mark Crawford,
Sounds like a
Dale
bunch of queens to me.
Dale Howardchuk, Scott Arniel,
Yeah.
um, Doug Crawford. Did I mention him? And who's the other big one? No, Mark Crawford, Doug Gilmore,
Doug
Scott
Gilmore.
Arniel, and Dale Howardchuk. They were
Dale
fancy.
Howard. Yeah.
They went on to do great things. But anyways, they had mullets. So you were allowed to wear. So I grew my hair long so I could have a mullet. And then I just decided to let the rest grow. And then I ran into problems because
Hmm.
you just weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't I didn't come out in high school, and I didn't cut my hair till I was like out of the closet for a couple of, maybe a year or a year and a half. Yeah. I remember I went home for Christmas, and I finally went in to see my friend Lori Green, the hair at Shaper Studios, and she took my long hair ponytail and cut it all off. I I still had it. Even it even lived through my house fire because it was in a box of like trinkets and didn't burn up. And then I was finally like packing and just went, ew, like that's, it's not a keepsake. It's like biological waste. Get rid of it. But I had my ponytail for
The
like
things we could have done with that. I
I
could have
know you
got
could
some
have phoned me.
hair.
You know?
I could have been wearing Ivan Coyote's
Oh
high
no!
school
Think
hair.
think of the magic that could have been done on it though. Like there's enough hair samples in there to, I don't know. It could have been bad. I destroyed it. It was destroyed.
Well, gorgeous. Um, Ivan, you have any last thoughts? We got a minute left.
A minute left. Oh, that went really fast.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna be, what's happening now, Michael?
Well, and then we're having an open mic for the last 40
Okay,
minutes.
right, for the last 40 minutes, which I really want to stick around for, but I'm in the Yukon, and I have a 6-day drive that starts first thing tomorrow morning. I got to drive back to Ontario to teach class, and I just got so many things to do. I got to drop the keys off to my Uncle Fred. I got to go see my sister. She made me some cranberry muffins. Got so much to do. So much to do. I've been living in the bush for 4 months, like 100 kilometers away from a cell phone signal and mostly offline. It's been really good. Anyway, I got to go face the civilization and do my job and all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to bow out for the open mic. But is everybody reading their color by numbers pieces? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed we have some people in the audience who wrote some poems too, or,
Okay,
sto-
I
or
can actually
stories.
stay.
I'm calling
If
them
we're going
story
straight
poems.
to it, I can stay for another 9 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So officially that brings us to our time for this week. Thanks for joining us, Ivan. You really are always one of my favorite performers and people. I was just going to say, let's give Ivan a warm thank you of applause. And thanks to the UBC Equity and Inclusion Office for sponsoring this event, and to Inspired Word Cafe for helping get the word out. It's amazing. Yay! Thanks, Ivan. I love you.
I'm just gonna hang around for a bit, but I'll fade myself out. Or no, I'll leave my face up for people. I'll just be quiet. That's what I'll do. I'll mute myself.
There we go.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.